3, 2, 1, go.
Hey everybody, I'm Ethan.
And I'm Jesse.
And today we're taking a look at the VSETT 10 Plus electric scooter.
Next on Now Let's Review.
This scooter was sent to us by REV Rides.
However, that's not going to change any of our opinions, and we're still going to give you an honest review based on our experience with this scooter.
REV Rides is a US-based company out of Vancouver, Washington that's family-owned and has great customer service. They have 96 service centers around the US, including areas like Los Angeles, New York, Seattle, Portland, San Diego, and many more.
REV stands for Recreational Electric Vehicles, and the whole team at REV Rides are firm believers that REVs are not only the future of motorized recreation, but the solution for traffic and a way to relieve the stress of daily commuting.
If you want to purchase the VSETT 10 Plus, make sure to get it from REV Rides. Stick around for our exclusive coupon code that will get you $50 off your order of $500 or more from REV Rides. The VSETT 10 Plus is a monster of a scooter and is the biggest and fastest of any scooter we have tested so far. It is definitely not for beginners or for the faint of heart.
The aggressive styling and color scheme merely hint at the performance of this scooter.
The sharp angles, huge ground clearance, dual suspension, and solid build quality suggest that it has limits most riders will probably not reach.
Housed within both of the 10-inch wheels are 1,400-watt hub motors that give the VSETT the most impressive acceleration of any scooter we've tested. The acceleration almost felt as fast as my Tesla.
I mean, there's one way to find out. Do you want to race?
Yeah.
Totally keeping up with me. That was crazy.
Dude, that was awesome. I mean, this thing was close to keeping up to my car.
It's crazy, especially off the line. You know, this holds right with the Tesla from the standstill. Obviously, if you watch, the Tesla pulls ahead, but it's a car, it has way more power and a way higher top speed. But yeah, right off the bat, this thing held right with a Model 3, which is insane.
And I mean, my Model 3 is no slouch. 0 to 60 in 4.9 seconds, and this was keeping up to about 20, 25 miles an hour. That's impressive.
The single and dual motor switch allows the rider to choose how many wheels are powered at the press of a button, letting the rider opt into better range or performance. Single motor mode is also great for doing wheelies, which the VSETT is extremely capable of.
Next to the motor switch is the Sport button, which gives the VSETT an increase in power, acceleration, and top speed for about 2 minutes before needing a 5-minute cooldown time. All right, so Ethan, when did you end up using Sport mode?
Just when I wanted more fun. Yeah, it just gives that little extra power, that little extra acceleration, and yeah, it's just honestly to have a little more fun.
Yeah, and I think that's a really neat feature. It definitely speaks to the engineering prowess of the designers at VSETT. If you can use more performance, why not show what it can do, even if it is for a limited period of time?
In sport mode, the VSETT has an absurd claimed top speed of up to 50 miles per hour, which is significantly higher than any other scooter or bike that we've tested.
So did you actually hit 50 miles an hour?
Not quite. I topped out at about 46 before I just ran out of road at that point, so there was no real practical use to go any faster than that, but it is nice to have the ability to get to that top speed.
Right. Now I do want to point out, this is not like something that you're going to be riding around at 50 miles an hour all the time. Like, your car might be able to do like 125 miles an hour. That doesn't mean that you're driving that fast every day.
You're absolutely right. And at close to 50 miles an hour, you're really just exceeding what's a safe speed to travel at on a scooter. So I don't think this is meant to be ridden at 50 miles an hour for any extended period of time, just to have the ability to pass a car or, you know, just get out of the way of something if need be.
Which is exactly why cars have top speeds that are higher than the speed limit.
In dual motor mode, the VSETT can still get up to 44 miles an hour, which is still more than enough speed in almost any scenario imaginable.
Yeah, I mean, there's some situations where you're going to be getting on some fast road that you really don't want to get on, but there's no other option. And being able to kind of match the speed of traffic is, in some cases, a little bit safer than going slow and almost like playing Frogger.
And I would argue that being able to keep up with traffic is definitely a safety measure. When you're on a slower scooter and you have to keep looking over your shoulder and worrying about when cars are passing you, you're distracted from where you're going. And when you're able to keep up with traffic, you remain more visible as a rider. And also, drivers approaching you will have more time to react because you're going closer to the speed they're traveling at.
The speed is displayed on the color screen, as well as the trip distance, odometer, voltage, battery level, and speed mode, all of which can be cycled through and controlled by using the 3 buttons on the display.
The trigger-style throttle comes out of the display, and although it's fairly smooth and easy enough to control, I would prefer a thumb throttle on any scooter to avoid accidentally squeezing the throttle when you mean to squeeze the brake or vice versa. Another thing you can do with the VSETT is switch between zero start and kickstart.
So kickstart is where you have to kick the scooter off before it will roll, and zero start is where you just pull the throttle and you zip off. Why would I ever want to kick off?
I suppose the kickstart helps with saving range for the scooter. It takes a lot of power to accelerate from a dead stop, and giving it that little bit of push at the beginning helps to save some battery. And it's a good safety measure, because if you accidentally squeeze the throttle when you're just at a standstill and the scooter takes off, you would very quickly lose control. Whereas if you had kickstart on, if you squeeze the throttle, it's not going to go anywhere unless you've already pushed it. Slowing down from high speeds is no problem thanks to the dual hydraulic front and rear disc brakes, which have great feel and serious stopping power. The VSETT also has regenerative braking, but the factory default regen braking setting was so strong that it almost threw me off the scooter on my first ride, so I highly recommend lowering the regen strength through the menu settings.
But I love regen braking, especially like on my EV. I like the one pedal driving of, oh, I'm accelerating, now I'm slowing down, it's so smooth.
Yeah, you don't really get that with this. This isn't one pedal driving. When you let off the gas, you just coast. And then to get the regen braking, you have to start applying the brake. However, there's a switch in the brake, and when you reach a certain point, the regen braking just kicks on full force. So you can't really ease into it, you don't get a smooth transition. So the default setting from the factory is insanely strong. It almost comes to a dead stop from whatever speed you're at. And that is dangerous as a new rider or as an experienced rider. If you're not expecting that, it is too much to handle. So definitely lower the regen braking strength and it'll make it a safer ride. The VSETT is just as comfortable riding off-road as it is on the pavement, largely thanks to the super high 7-inch ground clearance and the front spring suspension and rear hydraulic suspension. Although adjustable, I personally found the suspension to be a bit too soft, as it sometimes ends up just bouncing over rough terrain rather than soaking up the harsh impacts and staying level. But overall, it's still one of the best suspension setups I've seen on a scooter.
I think one of this scooter's biggest strengths has got to be dealing with bad pavement.
Yeah, both, county roads that have terrible pavement that's all cracked, manhole covers in cities, brick sidewalks. This thing can handle just about anything that you would reasonably ride over.
The wide deck with the rubber platform surface ensures that the rider is going to stay on even when going over bumpy terrain.
The VSETT is not a kid's toy, but it is fantastic for ripping around just for fun.
But it also has the potential to be a great commuting vehicle as well. Now, the only problem with commuting is that this is not a friendly scooter.
What do you mean?
This scooter doesn't have the look of like I'm just going for a fun scoot. It looks like I'm an extreme mountain bikey scooter guy and I'm zipping through your neighborhood and you better watch out, and people are gonna go, oh no, get off of my bike path, that has motors on it and those don't belong.
Yeah, that's a good point, because it does certainly look like something that doesn't belong in a bike path. However, if you're going slow and you're being respectful and responsible, I don't think you're gonna run into too many issues.
Regardless, I do think that you should look up your local scooter laws to see what they are, how vague they are, and if you can get away with riding something like this at 40, 50 miles an hour.
The VSETT 10 Plus has integrated deck headlights, a fender-mounted headlight, brake lights, and even built-in directionals, making it a very visible vehicle on the road while also providing great visibility for the rider.
The 60-volt 25.6 amp-hour lithium-ion battery in this model gives it a claimed range of up to 85 miles in eco mode.
I tested the range of the VSETT using a good mix of single and dual motor mode, but with a very aggressive and fast riding style, and I managed to get around 27 miles out of it.
Wow, that's pretty good for sucking 2,800 watts.
Yeah, and I think if you stay in single motor mode and ride at slower speeds, you could probably get significantly more range out of this.
Rider weight also plays a role in the range, and the VSETT has a maximum rider weight of 285 pounds.
I was also riding up and down a lot of hills when I tested the range, so flatter terrain would definitely also help to increase the range.
But it is pretty nice to be able to zip this thing up really steep hills.
Yeah, there really isn't much this can't handle as far as hills.
The VSETT comes with a few NFC cards that are used to unlock the scooter after it is turned on. And this added safety measure is a nice touch, especially if you commute with it and you leave it outside unattended at your destination.
Yeah, the convenience of the cards is so much more than the keys. I hate when the keys are stuck in there and it dangles around, and also when you have to take it out, put it in your pocket, you can easily lose it. This is just super easy, one tap and you're ready to ride. The VSETT can be folded using an excellent and very sturdy folding mechanism, but at 79 pounds, it is not pleasant to carry anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, take a look at this folding mechanism. There's like 3 different things holding it in place. There's no wobbly business, which is not what you want when you're traveling 45 miles an hour.
Definitely not.
But yeah, 79 pounds is not something you're gonna wanna lug up any flights of stairs, maybe 3 steps, up to your first floor apartment, or maybe down 3 steps to your basement apartment. But I don't think this is something you even wanna have to carry onto an elevator. You'd wanna roll it, but you would not wanna carry it that much.
Definitely not. The handlebars also fold, which brings the folded dimensions down to 18 by 8.5 by 49 inches, allowing it to fit into a reasonably sized car trunk. And actually, this is the only big performance scooter that we have that fits into my car trunk.
This might honestly be a make or break feature for some people.
Absolutely, and if I was going to buy the scooter, it would be.
Man, this is a beefy folding mechanism. I mean, it's a lot of work, but I mean, you do not want wobble.
No.
I mean, this is not a folding scooter. This is a scooter that folds. The VSETT charges in 12 hours with a single charger and in 6 hours with 2 chargers. So in theory, you could arrive at work with a dead battery and have a full charge by the time you leave at the end of the day.
Now, the VSETT does only come with 1 charger. You can buy a second from REV Rides for $62. However, unless you're pushing the full range of the scooter in one direction, I don't really see a need to have 2 chargers. The VSETT 10 Plus is currently listed at $2,390 on REV Rides.
Now, that looks pricey compared to like a $500 e-scooter, but as you saw from our Tesla race, this is in a completely different class of scooter.
Yeah, it definitely delivers in performance and capability compared to a folding $500 scooter, and comparing this to one of those scooters is like comparing my Honda Accord to a Model S Plaid.
Overall, the VSETT 10 Plus is an incredibly fun scooter that will leave most others in the dust, and it can handle being pushed to the limits. We hope you enjoyed watching this review as much as we loved riding the VSETT 10 Plus. If you liked it, please hit the like button. Please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel because that would help us out a lot. We're putting out lots of new content. We got lots of new fun stuff to be reviewing, so definitely be sure to check that out. We'll see you next time. Now let's review.